It was in the sterile glow of a downtown Chicago bank lobby that my world cracked open. Not with a bang, but with the quiet beep of a card reader that shattered everything I thought I knew about betrayal, survival, and the poison of unspoken grudges. My hands shook as I slid that ancient debit card across the counter to the teller. A guy named Mr. Harlan, whose name tag seemed as worn as his polite Midwestern smile. The card was a relic from my dad, yellowed plastic with numbers half erased by time. A forgotten token from a man who died scraping by as a maintenance worker in a run-down apartment block. Just check the balance, please, I whispered, my voice barely cutting through the hum of ATMs and murmured transactions. It's old. Might have a few bucks left. I felt exposed. Like everyone in line could see the desperation clinging to me, the wrinkled blouse, the scuffed shoes, the way my eyes darted like a cornered animal after 3 days of scraping by on nothing. Mr. Harlan nodded, swiped it, and then his face froze. Color bled from his cheeks, his eyes widening behind wire-rimmed glasses as he stared at his screen. He glanced at me, back to the monitor, then swallowed hard. Ma'am. Emily. Right? I need you to step into my office. Now. His tone wasn't kind anymore. It was edged with something urgent, almost fearful. My stomach twisted into knots. What had I done? Was this some fraud from my past catching up? Security guards materialized, flanking me like silent sentinels as we moved through a side door into a back room that smelled of stale coffee and old paper. Whispers followed us, customers craning necks, a young mom clutching her kid tighter. Shame burned my face. I was the spectacle, the broke divorcee dragging trouble wherever she went. Sit, Mr. Harlan said, his voice tight as he punched keys on his computer. ID, please. And answer these. Mother's maiden name? Date of birth? Father's full name, John Reynolds. I fumbled for my driver's license, my mind racing back to the hell of the last 72 hours, the raw wound that had driven me here. But let's pull back. Let me whisper this into your ear like a secret that's been festering too long, building pressure until it erupts. 3 days ago, I'd been standing on the cracked sidewalk outside what used to be my suburban dream home in Oak Park. A cozy 2-story with flower beds I'd tended like children. 12 years poured into that place, cooking family dinners, hosting barbecues, sacrificing my graphic design gigs to support Michael's real estate hustle. Now, he loomed in the doorway, arms folded, his face a mask of cold detachment. Behind him, slinking like a shadow, was Vanessa, his assistant, the one who'd laughed at my jokes over holiday wine while sliding into my bed. Emily, it's over. Papers are signed. House is mine. Accounts frozen. Get gone, Michael spat, his words slicing like a dull knife through years of quiet compromises. I'd caught them months back, texts, late nights, the lipstick on his collar that wasn't my shade. But he'd twisted it, gaslit me into thinking I was paranoid, ungrateful for the life he'd given me. Vanessa stepped up, her hand possessive on his arm, offering that fake pity smile. It's better this way. People change. You'll land on your feet. Land on my feet? With $37 in my wallet and a suitcase of thrift store clothes? I'd begged, voice cracking. Pride shattered. Michael, please. I quit my job for you. Built your client list. We were a team. He laughed, low and cruel. Team? You were dead weight. Now scram before I call the cops. The door slammed, echoing in my chest like a final betrayal. I wandered to a Fleabag motel on the city's edge, the kind where roaches skittered across peeling wallpaper and the neon sign buzzed like a headache. Nights blurred into insomnia, replaying every red flag I'd ignored, his business trips, the way he'd isolated me from friends, whispering I didn't need them when I had him. Hunger gnawed. But worse was the silence inside, the hollow where trust used to live, now filled with rage that simmered. Unspoken. Waiting to boil over. Digging through my bag for anything sellable. My fingers brushed that old envelope from Dad. For Emily. When times get tough, his scrawl read. Evoking memories of a man who'd patched his overalls and skipped meals so I could have school supplies. Inside, the card and a note, use wisely. Kiddo. Love always. Forgotten in the rush of college. Marriage. Loss. Maybe $50. I thought. Enough for ramen and a bus ticket to nowhere. So here I was. In that bank office. Mr. Harlan's face paling further as he verified my details. Emily. Your father set this up 25 years back. A trust from a land deal he cut smart, percentage of profits from what became the Lakeside Plaza development. I blinked. Confusion warring with the ache of old grief. Dad? The guy who fixed leaky faucets for pennies. Who died leaving us barely enough for a pine box? That can't be. We scraped by beans and rice. Dad walking miles in snow to save on gas. Mr. Harlan turned the screen. $52 million. The number hit like a sucker punch, sucking the air from the room. My vision swam. Guards studied me as laughter bubbled up. Hysterical and broken. Mistake. Has to be. But no, decades of untouched deposits. Interest compounding like silent vengeance against a world that had undervalued him. The shock rippled inward. Unearthing buried hurts, Dad's quiet sacrifices. Never touching a dime. Structuring it so no one, not creditors, not family, not a scheming spouse, could claim it. Michael's name flashed in my mind. 3 months ago. Right before he blindsided me with divorce papers. Someone had probed the account using my info. Denied. But flagged. He knew, I whispered. The betrayal igniting like dry tinder. Michael had hired a PI. Dug into my past. Sniffed out the scent of hidden wealth. Couldn't touch it legally, irrevocable trust. Sole beneficiary, but he'd strip me bare anyway. Leaving me destitute to break my spirit. Hoping I'd crawl back and share out of guilt or desperation. The room spun with the weight of it. His cruelty wasn't just indifference, it was calculated. A slow poison to extract what he couldn't steal. Mr. Harlan's voice cut through. Get a lawyer. Emily. Fast. People change when money like this surfaces. He slipped me a card for MS. Whitaker. A shark in estate law. I left through a back exit. Legs numb. The city blurring into a haze of what-ifs. Dad had gifted me freedom. But at what cost? The silence he'd kept to shield me from greed. From false loves, now echoed with my own unspoken fury. I checked into a discreet hotel under a pseudonym. The luxury mocking my inner turmoil. Calls flooded in, distant cousins. Old friends sniffing opportunity. Then Rebecca. My estranged sister. Her voice venomous over the line. Dad's money? That's half mine. You selfish bitch. You were always the fragile one he babied while I hustled alone. 8 years of no contact. Sparked by her calling Dad a loser, now she demanded shares. Twisting family ties into nooses. I hung up, blocking her. But the wound festered, betrayal from blood. Silent grudges exploding into demands. Michael showed next. Pounding on my door like a storm. Emily. We built a life, that fortune's ours. Security dragged him away. But his texts slithered in. Threats of lawsuits. Pleas laced with manipulation. MS. Whitaker dug deep. Michael's firm was rotten, falsified inspections. Hidden defects in flips that endangered families. Cracked foundations patched over. Wiring that could spark fires. He'd sold dreams built on lies. Just like our marriage. You could crush him, she said. Laying out plans to buy his debts. foreclose on his empire. The temptation burned, imagining his face as he lost it all, tasting the despair he'd fed me. But Dad's ghost whispered, "Revenge exacts its price, turning you into the monster you hate." I chose differently, driven by the scar tissue of my own pain, not to destroy, but to expose. Anonymously, we fed evidence to regulators. Raids hit his office, news crews swarmed as Vanessa bailed, fleeing with his assets. Michael called. "Broken, help me. For old times." We met in a dingy diner. He looked haunted. Suit rumpled. Eyes pleading. I screwed up. But 12 years. I stared into the abyss of his betrayal. The psychological gut punch of his gaslighting. The silence I'd endured thinking it was love. "No," I said. Voice steady despite the tremor inside. "You broke families. Not just me. Face it alone." Walking away. Closure hit like a release valve, not triumphant, but a quiet reclaiming. The cost of my choice etching deeper lines of resolve. Months blurred into purpose. I founded Renewal House, aiding women like me, divorced, destitute, psychologically shattered by partners who'd weaponized love. We offered shelters, therapy for the silent traumas, legal aid to fight back without vengeance's poison. I bought low-rent complexes, capping costs, ensuring families didn't drown in greed's tide. Scholarships in Dad's name went to kids from blue-collar homes, echoing his unspoken legacy. Rebecca sued. Lost. Vanished into bitterness. Michael? Bankrupt. Probation-bound. A shadow peddling used cars. I felt no joy, only the weight of what revenge could have cost my soul. On a crisp fall day, I knelt at Dad's grave in Evergreen Cemetery, tracing his name. Why the silence? Dad? The sacrifices? Tears fell as understanding dawned. He'd armored me against a world that preys on vulnerability, teaching that true power lies in choosing mercy over might. The price? Loneliness, suspicion, but also freedom to build, not burn. As leaves whispered overhead, I vowed to honor it, whispering back, "Thank you for the pain that made me whole." The city pulsed below as I drove away, scars aching but stronger, ready for whatever betrayals lay ahead.